Winds and stars and spirits, hello. I heard that there would be an interesting thing for me to find in Jadern. And figured that I would share it with you all if I can find it tonight, hopefully. In the meantime, well, whatever spirits are listening. And I wanted to ramble on all of these knots that I found, although I don't have them. I guess I don't have them with me. I should get them. I think they're in my stash. First, hello. You are a wise, destitute wretch. You are now a seasoned, far-traveled Khelim, still bearing your braided shore birth wounds. Oh, I guess fair. You should seek the Sefra that makes its home in Jadern from time to time. Well, that's not what you told me the first time I met you, but I guess I will. Jadern. Well, the easiest way to get there from here, I suppose, is to go this way. I could go across Alkenrock Coast. Oh, never mind. I'm rambling. But there is this one, I guess, traveling beggar that stands outside of tea houses, and most others call them the wise, destitute wretch. I'm not sure why, but when I first came to the braided shore, they hinted in a very vague way about some at something in Jade Urn that would reward keeping your birth wounds, I suppose, which I wasn't sure what that meant. But now, I'm fairly certain that it has to do with this condition that most Khelim apparently come to the shore with. Not that you can't be healed. You can be healed by the guardians at the Dandelion Temple. That's fine. But I believe the suggestion was, I received a suggestion somewhere to not talk to the very compassionate tea house hosts, as they are very kind, but that would not let you receive this, I guess, Sefra's blessing. And while I currently have a blessing, I'm not sure exactly what this Sefra in particular is for, so we're going to go find out. Hello, voices. Right now we are going to one of I guess more, I suppose it's a hidden thing. It's not something you can do if you talk to the compassionate tea house hosts. After landing on the braided shore, you have to avoid speaking with them for a while. Let's see. Mist Keeper's Toe. Yes. Oh, I'm going to have a hard time not wandering around here. Currently, we are going to see if we can get the blessing of a Sefra in Jadern. Do I have... Oh, I suppose I don't have that right now. Well, we're going to see if I can change out some of my skills. I'm not going to be using that for right now. Oh, I guess I can easily. I could use a lantern, I suppose. This is just easier. Hearted lantern, there we go. There's a little bit of light. Oh, and there is the person we helped with the fish compendium. I guess they're still fishing. Let's see. So, more about Sefra. And about... Oh, I forgot to pick up my knots from the Tree Master stash. So, Sefra are a curious group of powerful spirits with unclear motivations. Their roles among the folk of the Braided Shore are many. They are sometimes worshipped, or at least receive supplicants, and some of them lead communities as oracles or guides. The legends and stories about the powers of the Sefra are numerous. Often tales about wondrously good deeds, but other times telling of a more nefarious side to the Sefra, due to the Sefra's unwillingness to specify their intentions. If they even have any as a collective, their presence is often viewed with suspicion, and sometimes even spite or violence, which isn't actually a good idea. They can be terribly powerful. Though I suppose, as we found out recently from a certain incident in Casa, there seems to be some way that they can be dispatched, which is a little terrifying to think about. So we're gonna leave those mystics up to whatever they're doing. Oh, hello. There's a mystic out here.
Yes.
Have you seen any mystic apprentices nearby? Some of my junior students have snuck off somewhere. My master's ritual will take all the longer the fewer we are. I won't be head apprentice much longer if my master finds out some of them sneaked off from witnessing the ritual. It is a key part of their education. Oh.
Yes?
So students skipping class. I see. Let's see, so out of Charwood. Alright. Lantern, come back. Okay. Jade Urn. Some gambling wardens? I'm not interested in playing Passage. There is a Sefra in Little Slip in the Voices Tavern called the Cloud that I've heard that I played Passage with once ages ago. Ooh, mushrooms. I like mushrooms. They don't seem terribly interested in playing Passage against most people anymore. But, I've always been nervous ever since I played Passage against them. It's been said that you can turn into a Khelim if you play Passage too much. I suppose if it's going to rain, I'm not going to be able to light a fire. Maybe? Ah, okay, we're lucky. I can light a fire here. That means I can make tea. Where is my tea? Where is my tea? Alright, we're going to make some Ulit's Cobalt Brew. But yes, there's... I guess I could... So, in the spirit world there are 3 realms. The Sea of Despair, the Bitter Barrens, and the Meadow. It is believed that souls that pass into the spirit world carrying negative emotions must find peace before entering the meadow. After their rest in the meadow, souls can cross over to the outer sea. 3 great spirits rule over the 3 realms of the spirit world. The swamp beast, or the sea beast, the swamp fiend, and the whisper spirit. Between dream and reality, on the border between the outer sea and braided shore, lies the halfway tea house. It is a mythical place where voyaging souls meet, share adventures, and drink tea. And that's someplace I kind of am curious about. I wish I could figure out what it was. Although it has to do less with Sefra and more with, I guess, the Sefra are spirits, so they probably came from the spirit world. Speaking of which, let's go see if we can find this spirit. I guess it would probably be a good idea to get a better lantern or light. Here we go. And an umbrella. A light and an umbrella. So, there's supposed to be a Sefra in Jadern, and we're doing a little wandering trying to find it. I've heard people say it's around here, but I don't see one. Sefra look like these wispy... They almost look like shades, but not quite. Maybe we will take a tea break and look for the Sefra. But anyway, yes, so as far as we know, there are not dating the Sefra to at least having been around during the Varim Age. As Windvoices, which Windvoices are, I guess not mystics exactly. The 4 winds influence the changing of seasons in the braided shore, as well as many factors crucial to everyday lives, economy, and safety. To support the people of the braided shore, Windvoices walk the land, in small groups or on their own, looking to balance the winds in people's favor and limit the damage from half-winds. Windvoices are often employed on ships for their skills. A windvoice who is also the captain of a ship is called a boatmaster. There are also windvoices that specifically speak to Sefra. But Sefra in and of themselves are, well, there's a lot more on them than what I just said earlier. They're spirits, but they're much more powerful than Omen, or even Khelim or Maisu. There is a knot that someone showed me once that was the knot of a wind voice that recorded, I guess, the act of becoming a Sefra wind voice. After 40 days and 40 nights, the new voice awoke and rose from her mat. She had changed, and her yearnings for her family and the noisy rhythms of the village life were barely memories. She packed up her bindle and started along the road back home. What would they think of her new reserved ways? Other voices had been unable to settle in their old beds after training, had made homes in the forest, sometimes together, often alone. But that didn't matter now. What mattered now was her duty to the Isle and the Sefra. She mused a little on the prospect of her first Sefra meeting, feeling as she did a rustle of wind behind her. All will be well, she thought. My destiny is met. This knot also has more information on Sefra. Solitary and volatile, Sefra are powerful spirit beings that inhabit the braided shore. They aren't easy to describe or even to spot, as they vary in shape and size and can easily blend into the landscape. I wonder if that's why I'm having a hard time finding them in Jadern. Into forests, clouds, trees, or rocks. Sort of like Omen, but I guess more powerful. No one knows from where Sefra originate. They are an accepted part of life in the region, regarded as a force of nature, much like a wind. With the meditation of especially trained voices, some Sefra will communicate with Askin to aid their causes, acting as counselors and protectors, or taking a role in political matters. Don't think it's just Askin. I think there are others that can too. Others, however, remain reclusive. Over time, a tradition has emerged in which a single Sefra are made guardians of a certain place, a town, a forest, or a piece of land. This is evident with the Casa and New Foundry Sefras. Sorry, that was an aside from me. A town council might wish to develop in a particular direction and so look to engage with a Sefra who can help them with a specific need. A farm village located in a region that has troubles might look for a Sefra that can protect them. Other towns might need help with industrialization, trade, or crafts. In all agendas, voices play an essential role. Conflict ensues when Sefra, who are not always loyal, good, in quotes, or attentive, and villagers have different opinions. For example, certain Sefra have opposed the use of industrial tools, insisting on much more traditional methods of agriculture. Sefra are said to be related to one another, but there is no proof or evidence to this claim. Disgruntled or dangerous Sefra are unlikely to fight, but have been known to hire or manipulate people and animals to do so on their behalf. So that's one old knot message I found ages ago about the Sefra. I guess it would be, So, Sefra are from the spirit world, though currently we don't know where. And they generally are regarded as having tumultuous relations with Askin. I am going to take a minute for tea, and then I will be right back. I promise. Winds and stars and spirits, hello. So we are looking for a Sefra that consistently is around Jade Urn. At least, supposedly, if the beggar outside the tea houses is to be believed. Believe they're supposed to appear around here. Oh, yes, they are. It is very hard to see them. I wonder if... I have never used Unveil near a Sefra before. I wonder what happens if you do. Oh, I also don't want to scare it away. Maybe I will use Unveil near the cloud later. Hello, sorry to bother you. Patient Sefra. Even with so many miles behind you, you have suffered none to help you close your birth wounds. Such a thing I must reward. Allow me to bestow upon your finger a gift for such an endeavoring champion as you. I am confused. All right. Oh. Sefra's feather ring. A Sefra feather rolled into a finger ring. A small pin of silver keeps the feather in shape. Oh. Thank you. I suppose I should put this on since they were so nice to give me one of their feathers. It's very colorful. I didn't know Sefra had very colorful feathers, but apparently they do. Birth wounds. I wonder if this is what they're talking about. Well, thank you, patient Sefra. That was very kind of you. Will they let me? I hope they don't take offense if I cast a spell. I wonder, do I have that not ability? Ah, yes. Will temporarily. The gate spells do not have a skill level associated with them, so. But Unveil locates and illuminates hidden entities of all kinds. I wonder if we can get a better look at the Sefra this way? Well, I can definitely see where they are, but that doesn't truly... I guess that makes them easier to find. Well, that's very kind of them. I guess the beggar outside the crossing's tea house was right. You can... You can find a Sefra in Jadern if you... Oh, I suppose I should open my map. If you follow the river... Let me open my map. By the Humming Spring Well, you can find the patient Sefra. You have to have traveled a while. Be able to cast at least 10 first level spells. First, I guess level isn't the right word. Not spells that you need to learn. You have to have gained enough knowledge. The interesting thing is, if I remember correctly, there was an Elden statue which once mentioned the Sefra. However, I've only ever... how to put this? I have only ever... Maybe I misread it. I suppose after this, maybe I will get looked after by the tea house owners. I've always wondered, I've always been a little too shy to ask for help. I feel a little bad, if that's the only reason that I got this was mostly shyness. Oh. I do not feel like running into bandits tonight. Though I suppose I will put that back on. Now, where was it? There was a bunch of bushes around here. Aha. No, thank you. I'm not in the mood to fight tonight. We're wandering around and talking about Sefra. And spirits. And wind voices. I guess I should mention, since they mentioned the... what does everyone call them? Birth wounds? Most Khelim that come to the braided shore end up with these wounds that they don't necessarily have any means to heal, although I've heard that some tea house masters can help with that. What are you doing around here? I am busy. You know, I was trying to avoid fights. Humming iron swallows the quiet, heavy mantlet some days are. The red blood smells of rust, mechanism of my... Which statue mentions... There's a statue that definitely mentions omen. And that statue used to mention Sefra. Yes, to the sun to the moon, the tool to the machine, the people to the omen, librarian Olakar. Okay. So, I used to think that that statue read the Sefra to the omen. Although apparently it does not. At least not anymore. I wonder... Maybe I misremembered. I don't like to fight bandits. It was one thing if I was fighting, or when the Khelim were around and they were animated by the half-winds, or Maisu. But just fighting bandits feels a little mean. I know I can. I'm not really... I've done it many times. But it just feels... Oh, hello, Omen. It just feels a little... Some of them are just trying to make a living, and it's hard. I know they shouldn't be attacking people. That's not good, but... It's one thing if something is motivated by a malevolent half-wind that drives it to do harm to others, and another if someone is motivated by needing money for food. I've given bandits money before, mostly just because I felt bad. But yeah, so they are... This is one of my favorite places to come and visit. You can fish over here. This skirt is lit on Alkenrock Coast. And when it rains, it's very beautiful. Although, very wet. I guess that's fair, voice. I don't know that ill will is only born of half-winds, or only not. Well, here, let's make a fire, because I have lots of knots and recordings that I made on half-winds and winds and the spirit world, and while I don't necessarily have all of them with me, let's see, I do know of several things about half-winds and the cardinal winds. And Sefra, which, I guess we're straying a little bit from the, from the talk on Sefra, but half-winds are also spiritual forces, so it's similar. So, winds and half-winds. Winds and half-winds are the main forces of positivity and negativity in ask and belief. Four cardinal winds, north, south, east, and west, are praised and lauded, whereas the half-winds, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, are seen as bad omens. Folk who can interpret and shape the winds are called Windvoices, and they often are employed on larger ships for their skills. They use portable tools called wind voice wheels to gauge storms approaching. A boat master is someone who is both a wind voice and the captain of a ship. Winds and half-winds are a large part of everyday life in the braided shore, and, as such, they are part of everyday conversation as well. The words wind and half-wind are used for both positive and negative emphasis. So I guess someone could say a trait was a half-wind trait, perhaps, but that does not mean it's caused by a half-wind. Oh, and since we mentioned omens, although not quite in this term, omen are small nature spirits that are often shy away from folk, unless given offerings. Such offerings are sometimes put out at night by common folk who hope for the blessings of the omen, in addition to such blessings, which the omen may or may not give. The small spirits sometimes also leave simple gifts in return for folks' offerings. Some legends speak of mighty omen, of great serpents and mountain kings, but most accounts are of diminutive, timid creatures with a penchant for mischief. Perhaps I will do a little bit more on omens at some point. I haven't done a lot of research on them. Then again, there isn't a lot of research I have found. Most of what I found are from Rivenleaf scholars and other not messages between wind voices. And Khelim, no one knows what creates a Khelim, but legend has it that they form when half-winds pick up driftwood, infusing it with their malicious energy. What truth lies in those legends is unclear, but the fact remains that creatures made of wooden debris walk braided shore, or at least used to, and that folk call them Khelim. People debate whether Khelim are simply energy held together by the winds, or if they are sentient beings. There are enough stories telling of powerful Khelim who have been heard speaking the Velan language to make the latter seem the more probable and possibly more unsettling case. That would be the Northwestern Tempest, or the Tempest Khelim, which used to be able to be found in Westwind Shores when you could find Khelim in Westwind Shores. I have not seen a Khelim or Maisu in a very long time. Speaking of which, Maisu. Maisu are demons from the Bitter Barrens. They are creatures of spite, fueled by wickedness and ill tempers. Objects can be possessed by Maisu, and when that happens, it corrupts the object in question. Demons in general prefer possessing objects that have movable joints, such as dolls, foldable furniture, or, in very rare cases, Elden machinery. Possessed machinery often tries to hide its position and continues to work as normal, but the result of its work tends to show proof of it. Maisu are demons, not folk, but they are capable of complicated emotions nonetheless, such as regret and remorse. While they are not able to possess people or animals, they can inflict sickness and physically harm them. Summoning a Maisu is mostly done intentionally, but tales suggest that there have been instances when they also appear spontaneously. If that is the case, no scholar has been able to determine how or why. Demon summoning is no easy feat, and many failed would-be summoners have sown the rumor that perhaps Maisu do not exist at all. I do know that there used to be teenagers that would wander around Charwood and try to summon a Maisu. Hopefully, they have stopped doing that, as I haven't seen Maisu in some time. But still, they generally can't be seen, but you can hear them shriek before they attack. At least that was the case. Most Maisu in Khelim seem to have disappeared, oddly. I kind of feel a little lonely almost without having to occasionally fight one off to get messages to the mystics in Westwind Shores. But I guess it's a good thing, technically. Anyway, yes, there are 2 Sefra that are on councils. Well, was. There was a Sefra on the Casa Council, and there is a Sefra on the New Foundry Council. The New Foundry Sefra seems to be one of the only Sefra that is okay with industry. A lot of Sefras are more concerned with nature and more natural things. But Sefra can help with a variety of pursuits, and that includes knowledge of mechanical devices, as is the case in New Foundry. The Sefra in on the Casa Council unfortunately died, at least if the knots from the Scald Singer are to be believed. But the, I wonder if I have some more knots in... I probably have more knots on Sefra in the train masters. We'll try that. So the Sefra in Jade Urn is what gives you the Sefra Feather Ring, and it's southeast along the river, southwest along the river, not near the entrance to Jade Urn Pavilion, in the opposite direction, southwest of Moon King's Well. Oh, I suppose technically, yes, in Jade Urn. I am going to see if I can find more. I know I have some other knots on Sefra. But you can only get the Sefra Feathering with, if you decide to, I guess, keep your birth wounds. And not talk to the very nice tea masters that will try to give you food and other things if they see that you're injured. Although I guess I could go talk to them now. We're going to pick up some other Sefra related items. Such as this. Let's see. There is one thing here that reports. Singer's Rosary writes about the Casa Sefra. At least one of them does. Oh, this does speak about the... I guess technically two of them do. I think it's these two. There are other notes that speak about Sefra. Oh, reminder to self, don't forget. Yes, I'm great at forgetting. Here we go. This was the knot of a nameless wind voice that definitely had information on the Sefra. Oh, I don't know what to do with that ritual, Shiv. Let's see. I do have a few knots that have to do with Sefra. And there's one knot you can get from a knot binder in Crossings, and I think from other knot binders as well. The knot with the long message. Not with the children's story. Yeah, that tells the story of how the braided shore was formed. And Sefra's hair root. What else? Not with the long message. There's not. This dangerous ritual knot, I don't think it has anything to do with the Sefra. So this dangerous ritual instruction knot says, I'm telling you this purely for the purpose of advancing the esoteric arts. If this gets back to me, I'll deny ever knowing you. Distill the essence of the bitter barrens and the sea of despair through a dual alembic. This is how you get ether. Take note, as the substance cannot exist in the mortal realm for long, so prepare the phylactery and ritual knots beforehand. If the aether grows unstable, run and bury your laboratory. We cannot let our work be discovered. I believe you know the final steps of the ritual. Good luck, T. That is very ominous and worrying. So yes, I don't know what to do with that dangerous ritual knot. I will figure it out eventually, maybe. Yes, this is rumors of the puppet master. I wonder if this also has something to do with Casa. So, from Singer's Knot messages, they detail that I awake from slumber, frowning, a sound or feeling moving me, the shadows of the heat of the day, a set of dancing figures there. The council hall pavilion, the veiled one, and the askin too, a girl with a tomback outstretched bowl, a mystic with his hand inside the shape of a spirit likewise posed, exalted face on mystic worn. The magic plays uncommon light, cast shadows cross the city flares, the tomback bowl spins on the floor. A second light, grim, needle-like, from mystic hands stab out, the bowl spun out in silence now. Alone now stands the mystic counselor. And after that, can I believe my senses? The murderer and I alone witnessed the death of something that cannot die, the crime of him elected by his people. The spellcast murder of the servant girl, the wardens rush the room like a wave, the icy accusation by the guilty party. The servant's body carried off in hate through warden's grief-struck eyes linger, ashen faces staring in awesome belief at the lifeless husk of that which cannot die. Sefra are described as beings that cannot die. But if this is true, and and Singer's rosaries are true, the Casa Sefra was killed by the head of the Esoteric Union, Grandmaster Brahma. As further proof of this, the ruffled zephyr feather, which I gave the Patterfoot gang kids some toys for. The Undertaker Nightbather has speculated that this feather was likely shed by a Sefra suffering from great shock. So the voices that I hear, no, as far as I know, the, what's it called? The bridge builder in Mur has not completed his bridge. Although I suppose I could go take a look. Let's see. Someone's musical score not. I guess I can maybe pick that up. I like music, although I'm not a skald. I like to sing. Sure, let's see if there's the ferry to Mer. I can go check on the bridge builder, I suppose. And I guess no comment on Sefra would be complete without maybe a visit to the cloud. There are 3 places I know of where there are Sefra in the braided shore that you can meet. The first is the cloud in Little Slip, though they are unsettling, and I don't know that they interact much. They're in the Voices Tavern in Little Slip. Then in the Moon King's Well, sometimes, I don't know if there's a specific night that this happens. I think it's just at random. There are Sefra that you can find in the Moon King's Well that are playing in the waters. They warn you not to travel there when they are not there because the place could also draw other, less friendly spirits. They seem kind, I suppose, though I don't know that Sefra have a concept of kindness in the same way. And then there is the patient Sefra in Jadern, at the end of the river that flows through Jadern in the southwest. That gives you the Sefra feather ring if you are kept your birth wounds, I suppose. You can go to the Dandelion Temple and be healed there, but I guess it simply means not asking others for aid. I'm not sure. Sefra are cryptic and don't make sense, and so I'm not sure what they are trying to say, but those are the, I guess, friendly Sefra that I know of. I have heard that in Hov Aradon in Charwood, sometimes you can find a Sefra that is surrounded by animals and rather large, hovering over the ruins at night. But they... Oh, ouch. It's getting late. I also heard that the Windvoice Master Khelim you can sometimes find in the evening at the Mer Tea House, so I guess we'll go check on the Mer Bridge Builder and the Tea House, as Windvoices also occasionally talk to Sefra. But I don't think Master Khelim is a Windvoice that is a Sefra Windvoice. But yes, it's very disconcerting that Singer's note seems to document the death of the Casa Council Sefra. Because, as far as most people know, they're not supposed to be able to die. Though, if some of my current research is accurate, it's not the first time. Or at least not the first time one has been injured so grievously as to change its state. I don't know if death is a thing that Sefra do in the same way that Askin, Malkusu, Sabasir, or Selka or other peoples do. So each of the tea houses has a, I guess, tea house host? Yes, tea house host. And I haven't spoken with them yet. No, I am busy. Could you not? Thank you. Why are there pirates? That warden should take care of that bandit. So, anyway, yes. Sefra as spirits, I suppose, must come from the spirit world, but I've seen no knots thus far that actually state that specifically. And I suppose I misremembered the inscription on one of the Elden statues. And it does not mention Sefra, but all peoples. But there is a knot specifically that mentions the Sefra and the Varim, the fragment of a nameless Windvoices knotweave. The Sefra sometimes offer words of the Varim. Their minds were set only on short-term goals, a culture devoid of foresight. So, Windvoices can talk to Sefra about previous ages, but I suppose I've never found a knot message from a Windvoice or any other that talks about the Elden Age, and none of the Sefra seem keen to talk about it. So I'm curious about when the Sefra actually came to the Braided Shore. I suppose they always should have been here. I guess if they were formed around the same times as the winds, but... Anyway, it's a difficult thing to trace, especially considering that no Sefra really seems interested in answering exactly where they've come from. I suppose if they could be killed, that might be for their own benefit. Oh, hello. Yes, the bridge builder is still building. Ha, you hurt? Tough luck. Now, if there had been a bridge straight across to the tea house, you'd be all right. As it is, you'll have to wade your bruised butt across the water, probably getting sump leeches stuck to your cheeks on the way. Oh, well, I was unaware that there were leeches in the water, but thank you for that. Maybe I won't wade across the water then if there are leeches. We'll just fold. Oh, there is a Windvoice here. A lot of Windvoices seem to have this particular outfit. I wonder if it's specific to their station? This is the Martyr host. So, I guess I could talk to you now. Hello. Oh dear, you look worse for wear, poor thing. Hello, tea housekeeper Mitna. Here, take the weight of your legs while I fetch you something springy to drink. Akka always has a little something simmering out back. And you'll need some food in you, too. Perhaps one of my old shirts will fit you. At least it will be clean and dry. Speaking of our resident brewmaster, Akka, he knows a lot about the Dandelion Temple. I imagine you might want to pay the place a visit. Oh, I've already been healed. Oh, food. Thank you. You feel reinvigorated. Go say hello to him if you like. He's right over there, fussing with his teapots. I guess that's the old brewmaster. Oh, I feel much better, thank you. And I definitely could use little meal sweetbread, sweetness derived from yeast and malt puffed like clouds and eaten with a glad heart and loved friends is the best sweetness there is. Minu, Tet, Casson, Baker, and Convivialist. Thank you for the food, actually. That's very kind. Silk, linen, or recycled rags, a shirt from me will make you glad. Old Mecky, the tailor. Well, that's a very nice looking shirt. I feel bad to take it. I suppose this is what they mean by the tea masters being kind.
I remember nothing of my past.
I suppose this Windvoice doesn't want to talk tonight. Anyway, I guess if we sit, at least we can sit out of the rain. The last few things that I have on the winds and Sefra, I suppose, are this children's knot story. Back before the ages of mortals, the four winds played across an unformed realm. The winds were merry in each other's company, but they were not allowed to touch. At first, the winds were content in loving each other from afar, but as time went on, the winds became more and more irresponsible and began drifting closer and closer until they were close enough to touch. Closer, closer, and ever closer, the winds dared each other to be the first one to touch another, and then crash. The four half-winds were born. And that supposedly wove the world into being. And I guess separated the braided shore from the spirit world? But that's just my guess. This Sefra's hair root I got from the crossings market has a tale associated with it. When the first explorers settled the deeplands, they were forced to adapt to the harsh flora and fauna that lived therein. They quickly discovered that fighting against the winds was impossible, so instead they chose to become one with the forests. These were the first deeplanders. They lived in harmony with beasts and plants that were the unforgiving forests, their home. that made the unforgiving forests their home. They could not keep sheep or goats, but they made their clothes from edible silver roots that clung to tree branches, what is now called Sefra hair root. Sefra's hair clothes are very resilient to moisture and will keep the wearer dry even in the marshes of the deeplands. I wonder if there's any tailor in the braided shore that knows how to make those clothes outside of the deeplands. I've always wanted to travel to the deeplands, and I still hope to one day. But that is more or less what I know of the Sefra and wind voices that speak with them. And about the other I guess most things pertaining to the spirit world, and well, I guess we should maybe leave off with this. This metaphysics not weave tells of the three realms that make up the spirit world. I mentioned this earlier, but they are the Sea of Despair, the Bitter Barrens, and the Meadow. It is believed that souls passing to the spirit world in torment, despair, spitefulness, or hate must find peace before coming to rest in the meadow. From there, when the stars are right, the souls can cross over the outer sea. My guess is that this is where each individual star sign comes from, which you can only find by a specific skill that other Khelim can divine from you. It's either, I believe it's read hearts. You're able to read the hearts, find out their personality and traits. Sense background. By empathy or observation, you are able to read other travelers' backgrounds, their origin, and other details. I think sense background is what gives you someone's star sign. Though I've done this for other Khelim I've met on my travels, I don't exactly know mine. Hopefully I'll find it out soon. Each star sign has their own, how to say, each star sign has their own destiny? Not destiny. Yes, alright, so it is sense background. There are the known star signs are the Rats of Five, the Watching Hand, the Silent Heart, Feather, the Dotted Line, Shield of Mornings, which my partner's star sign is, the Three Smiles, Trellew, the Low, Wounded Arm, and Gardener. So, if you use sense background, you can use it to divine another star sign. And each star sign used to have other things it supposedly can tell you more about yourself. I don't know. I also know that the tea known as smell tea also allows you to divine star signs. So those are ways that you can divine it for others. I guess through a little tea reading or a little magic. But it can allow you to also spot injuries, read other strengths and their hearts as well, if I remember correctly. I have not tried it. I've not tried the tea, though I have tried the spell, sense background and retards. Anyway, that got slightly off topic from the Sefra we met earlier, but hopefully that Sefra is safe. I suppose I should be more worried about what's been going on with the council. Perhaps when I have more energy, I will read more of the messages and whatnot I have found from Singer. Until then, well, good luck to the bridge builder. Sefra's blessings and safe travels.